Hey friends, most of the sites that I build rely on a whole lot of API data and are also statically generated and deployed to Vercel or Netlify for a snappy end-user experience. And to keep the data fresh online, I usually set up a cron job or a serverless function that triggers a new production build at least once a day. In this video, I will show you how you can use Checkly heartbeat monitoring to ensure that your scheduled deployments are up and running. Sounds good? Let's go. If you haven't heard of Checkly, Checkly enables you to ship good stuff and be confident that your features work in production. You can test and monitor all your public API endpoints. You can use headless Chrome to test and monitor your websites and web apps. And if, like in this case, you want to monitor your cron jobs and scheduled actions, you can use heartbeat monitoring too. What is heartbeat monitoring? In a nutshell, when you create a new heartbeat check in Checkly, Checkly will provide you a unique URL and will listen for HTTP calls to this URL. So when we define a daily deployment in Netlify or Vercel, we have to ensure that once a day we will ping Checkly and tell it that everything is all right. If there won't be an HTTP call in this time frame, Checkly will give me an alert and a ping and tell me, hey Stefan, your deployment pipeline is currently broken. But before I show you how you can connect your deployments and your hosting provider with Checkly monitoring, be aware that heartbeat monitoring is part of Checkly's paid offering. But if you are planning to monitor your websites or APIs anyways, I would definitely give this a try. Let's head over to my Checkly account and create a new heartbeat check. When you press the plus button, you will find heartbeat checks here in the list of different check types. And what you here now see already is this unique URL that I was just talking about. It's important that you first hit save because otherwise this URL won't be online, and we can define the time frame we expect HTTP calls and a certain grace period that allows us to give us a little bit of wiggle room in case something took a little bit longer. So in my case, what I want to do is I want to have 1 day and I will set a grace period of 30 minutes. With that, we can save this new check and we're already good to go. When we now head over to Netlify, here we are. This is the account that powers my own personal website, and we inspect all these production deployments. You see here that I have a production deployment that is triggered by the hook rebuild cron. This is this cron job that I have set up that redeploys this website once a day. So how could we now ping back Checkly after a production deployment? When I head over to the notification section here in Netlify, you see that there are emails and webhooks, and luckily, Checkly is also able to accept good old webhooks. So all we now have to do is we can add a new notification. We want to send an HTTP post to Checkly whenever a deploy succeeded. Let's choose deploy succeeded. Let's give it the URL that we just created. Now we can hit save. And when I now go back to my deploys and I trigger a new deploy, so let me deploy the site. And now we have to wait a little bit. So I will fast forward that very quickly. And here we are. The site is now live and the production deployment happened. And when we now go back to our heartbeat check, so let's have a look. We see that there was a new ping that just happened and was registered by the heartbeat check. When there now won't be another HTTP call in 1 day, that's the period defined, and 30 minutes, that's the grace time, the little wiggle room we defined, Checkly will send me an alert and will tell me that something is off. So how does it work for Vercel? Well, it's a similar story on Vercel. And Vercel is also able to send you webhooks after deployment events. So if I wanted to do the same for scheduled or general Vercel deployments, all I had to do is define deployment succeeded, put the URL here, and start monitoring that my sites are constantly updated and are constantly deployed. But you might now say, okay, Stefan, this is very straightforward, but what happens if HTTP pings come in too early? And on this topic, we have an entire other video that I will link in the description below, and it will show you the nitty-gritty details of heartbeat monitoring and what happens on the timer when things are early, late, or just on time. So to monitor anything that runs on a schedule, let it be my daily deployments, let it be email sending, let it be database updates, you can use Checkly heartbeat monitoring to ensure to get alerted when your jobs are not finishing on time. If you want to learn more, of course, the Checkly docs are the place to go. And if you want to adopt monitoring as code, of course, you can also create new heartbeat checks programmatically from the command line, from your CI/CD systems to put all your monitoring resources in version control. And this was the Checkly tip for today. If you have any questions or comments, drop them below, and I will talk to you very, very soon again.